Here's a psychology fact you're not ready for. Being chronically late has almost nothing to do with your alarm clock, the battery on your phone, the unexpected traffic on the highway, or how many items are currently on your to-do list. If you are the person who is always texting, "I'm 5 minutes away," while you're still standing in your bathroom in a towel, this harsh psychology fact is going to hurt. Your lateness isn't just a harmless personality quirk, a sign of a creative mind, or the result of a full life. It is a subconscious power play, a deeply rooted defense mechanism, and a profound failure of emotional self-regulation that is damaging your life more than you realize. Psychologists call this time optimism, a cognitive distortion where you genuinely believe you have the supernatural ability to bend the laws of physics and time. You convince yourself that you can shower, dress, and drive across town in a window of time that wouldn't even be enough for the drive alone. But to the person standing alone on a cold street corner or sitting in a silent boardroom waiting for you to arrive, it doesn't feel like optimism. To them, it feels like a cold, calculated, and loud statement that your time is infinitely more valuable than theirs. Your relationships, your professional reputation, your friendships, and even your own internal sense of self-worth. All of it is being slowly eroded day by day by this one toxic psychological pattern. You tell yourself you're just overwhelmed or bad with numbers, but the truth is much darker. Once you peel back the layers of your ego and understand the deep-seated biology of why you actually refuse to be on time, you'll realize you've been living in a self-constructed lie for years. But here's where it gets even worse, and this is the part most productivity gurus or time management apps will never tell you, because they don't understand the darkness of the human mind. Most people assume lateness is just a symptom of being disorganized, having a messy brain, or lacking a good calendar. It's not. It's actually much more intentional and much more selfish than you have ever been willing to admit to yourself. Psychology reveals that the people in your life don't actually buy your excuses about the unexpected train delay or the keys that disappeared. Deep down, they see your lateness as a form of passive-aggressive dominance. By consistently making people wait, you are subconsciously forcing an entire group of people to pause their lives, suspend their schedules, and operate entirely on your terms. You are centering yourself as the most important person in the narrative before you even walk through the door, ensuring that your arrival is the main event that everyone has been waiting for. Here's the truly painful part. Your brain actually chooses the frantic, heart-pounding, nauseating rush of adrenaline that comes from being late over the calm, dignified, and professional peace of being prepared. You aren't just late. You are literally addicted to the crisis. You crave the high of barely making it through the door as the meeting starts, because that hit of dopamine and cortisol makes you feel busy, needed, and like the protagonist in a high-stakes movie. Without the rush of the deadline, you feel bored, unimportant, and empty. And this next part explains exactly why your life hasn't changed yet, despite every calendar app, every loud notification, every vibrating smartwatch, and every time management hack you've ever tried to implement. You aren't fighting a schedule. You are fighting your own brain's chemistry. This cycle persists because of a powerful cognitive bias known as the planning fallacy. Your brain has a highly selective, almost delusional memory that ignores every single time things went wrong in the past. You convince yourself that a 20-minute drive only takes 10 because once, 3 years ago, on a holiday morning with no lights and no traffic, you did it in 10. You are basing your entire life schedule on a statistical anomaly, a best-case scenario that almost never happens in the real world. Then there's the one more task syndrome. Psychologists have found that chronically late people have an agonizing, almost physical difficulty with transitions. When it is time to leave, you feel a visceral itch, a desperate need to check one last notification, fold one last shirt, or wash one last dish before walking out the door. Your brain does this as a defense mechanism to protect you from the dead time of waiting. You subconsciously fear the vulnerability of being the first one there, sitting alone with your own thoughts. Your mind tells you this is maximizing efficiency or being productive, but the reality is you're living in a total fantasy world. You don't even start the process of leaving until the danger zone hits, because that's the only moment your brain releases enough stress hormones to force you into action. You aren't being productive, you're being reactive. You aren't in control of your life. You are a slave to the last-minute panic. If that hit you hard, good. It means you finally needed to hear it. You cannot expect to be respected by others, by your boss, your partner, or your friends, if you never respect the one thing they can never, ever get back: their time. Every minute you are late is a minute of life you've effectively stolen from someone else. A minute they spent waiting for you that they could have spent on their own dreams or their own families. Here's the truth you've been avoiding. You aren't actually bad with time. You are simply afraid of the silence, the boredom, and the self-reflection that comes with being early. You use the self-inflicted chaos of lateness to drown out the uncomfortable thoughts you'd have to face if you were just sitting still in a quiet room, waiting for a meeting to start. Your lateness is a noise-canceling machine for your soul. If you genuinely want to break this cycle and reclaim your reputation, you have to stop trying to be faster. Speed isn't the issue. Perception and ego are the issues. Start by implementing the 15-minute tax. This isn't a suggestion, it's a rule. If your brain tells you it takes 20 minutes to get somewhere, you must mentally hard-code the travel time as 35 minutes. You must treat that extra 15 minutes as if it is a literal, physical barrier that you cannot cross. But here's the mental trick that actually works for the long term, especially for the adrenaline junkies: the waiting reward. Most late people are late because they dread the social awkwardness or the perceived emptiness of arriving first. To fix this, you must choose one high-value activity, a specific podcast you love, a luxury coffee you only get at that location, or a book that captivates you, that you only allow yourself to enjoy when you are early. You have to gamify the arrival so that your brain sees early as winning. Suddenly, being 10 minutes early isn't wasted time or awkward time. It's your time. It becomes the only time in your hectic, stressful day where you aren't rushing, where you aren't sweating, and where you aren't apologizing. Stop making your internal mental chaos everyone else's external problem. The moment you start respecting other people's time is the moment they, and more importantly you, will finally start respecting your character. Did you enjoy the video? If so, a thumbs up goes a long way. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss the next one. See you soon.